If you are anything like me, you probably thought Lent started next week, but we still have like 3 weeks. It doesn't start until March 2nd this week, which means I still have time to give you book recommendations that you can order and still get in time for Lent. My first recommendation is a classic. Whether you are considering becoming Catholic, are already Catholic and have some questions about faith, are looking for community, or looking to revert back to the church, I would recommend Scott Hahn's Rome Sweet Home. Now, it took me a while to read this book because I thought the cover title was so cheesy, but once I got into it and saw Scott and Kimberly's story coming to the faith, it is one that I would hands down recommend if you are considering becoming Catholic. But maybe you're looking for something that's a little less of a personal testimony or autobiography and more of a day-to-day devotional. In that case, I have a few. My first recommendation I actually only have the manuscript of, which is One Step Closer by Brother Anthony Freeman. Now, shortly after Brother Anthony published this, he passed away. He was 29 years old, and this book is his legacy. It is a step-by-step, it's 10 doses of motivation, hacks, and experiences to share with millennial Catholics. And everything in this is so good. He had sent me the manuscript to review. I finally got around to reading it and have yet to send in my review of the book because I'm a procrastinator. I don't know what to say, but his legacy is phenomenal. Highly recommend this one. By Matthew Kelly himself, I would recommend Resisting Happiness. Now, this one is all about how to overcome a lack of courage, lack of motivation, how to get out of bed in the morning. Matthew Kelly, he goes into his struggle after being diagnosed with cancer and his overcoming. What are we doing that is keeping us from feeling the most fulfilled in our lives that we can, with intention, if we choose to live intentionally, how can we change it? This next recommendation is a 30-day spiritual makeover for women called Choosing Beauty by Gina Lauer. This book, oh my goodness. So you basically go 30 days without wearing a stitch of makeup and read a little something by Gina every single day. And this book changed how I viewed my physicality on so many levels, really brought me into my intrinsic femininity, that we don't need makeup to be feminine, that everything that we need is just like, it's just a beautiful book. I highly recommend this too if you are like struggling with insecurity and how you are appearing. Gina, like her struggle through the 30 days of not wearing makeup and the change that she saw in herself is, you have to read it to understand it for yourself. We have the classic Total Consecration to Mary by St. Louis de Montfort. These are the two that I recommend. I used these side by side in my last consecration to Mary. And so it's True Devotion to Mary by St. Louis de Montfort. This is the version that I have. And then by Tan Books, Total Consecration to Jesus through Mary. So these really worked well together in my experience. I've done the consecration a bunch of times. And so these are the two books that I recommend for that. It's a 33-day journey, basically connecting to Jesus's mother and getting to know her experience of Christ and then Christ's experience of the world through her. As we know, the 3 pillars of Lent are prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. So while almsgiving, I don't know, can be incorporated into reading, we could choose a book off our bookshelf per day of Lent to donate to the library or a local Catholic organization, but I can help you with your prayer and your fasting. Meditations with St. Teresa of Avila by Megan Don has been phenomenal for my meditative state. I, as you may know, wanted to become a Carmelite, and this was a book that influenced that heavily. The mystical aspects of what Megan pulls out in what we know about St. Teresa of Avila, all of those pieces. This has 65 meditations, so you can't get through it through Lent, but it's definitely a great companion if you are looking to have more of a guided meditation experience. Another classic, The Imitation of Christ by Thomas Okempus. Again, not laid out in a 30-day format that would fit into Lent, but if you were going to read 20 minutes a day, this is going to deepen your prayer life as it's more of a communication between Christ and the apostle or myself, right? So it's a beautifully formatted book that is just laid out in a way that we can really connect with a reader, hear different points of perspective, and grow deeper in our spirituality. This one I haven't had a chance to read yet, but I did glance through, and that is The Spirituality of Fasting by Charles M. Murphy. So this book looks really good. I'm planning on reading it this Lent alongside my other chosen readings that I'm going to be doing, and so I wanted to invite you in joining me with this. I believe Scott sent this to me, or somebody did. One of my patrons, one of you guys sent this to me, and so anyway, it's 6 chapters. It's not long, And I just feel like it's going to give me a greater understanding of why it is that we fast on Fridays of Lent, and maybe integrate that more into just a standard spiritual practice throughout the year, because I personally know that I don't fast nearly as often as I should. So excited just to get to know this one a little bit. We all know about Lectio Divina, reading scripture and then rereading it again later to meditate on it and see what new comes forward. And I had recently learned about Visio Divina. And when I did, I was contacted by Kindred Bible to receive a few of their Visio Divina Bibles. And these are beautiful, you guys. They are laid out just by the Gospels. They're single books, but they have, it's like a coffee table Bible. And at first I was kind of like, I don't know about this. Like, it's a lot of nature shots, but they really did tie in the context of what was going on in the story, in the parable, all of those types of things. And it's really, the texture, the thickness of the pages, all of it about these. They only have a limited number out right now. So I have John, Luke, and Mark. And my husband even said that due to their layout, he would definitely read it more, and it's very easy to put these out. So if you were to order one and maybe you are growing in your spiritual walk, I would recommend getting the book of John. It is the one gospel that is not one of the synoptic gospels, meaning it's not a play-by-play of Christ's time on earth. It's more of the impact that he made, and it's more of a focus on like who he was as a person. So I would really recommend getting John if you're looking to grow just in Christianity in general. Side note, I am planning on putting links for all of these books in the description, but for those specifically, I also have a discount code that I'll include. And then finally, if you're just looking for a logical understanding of God, trying to understand if he exists, if you are like just totally doubting that this Lent thing is even worthwhile doing, I would recommend A Catholic Scientist Proves God Exists. This is Dr. Gerard Verschuren. He's from the Netherlands. I interviewed him for his book on the Shroud of Turin. A Catholic Scientist Champions the Shroud of Turin, and he is so well educated, so well spoken, and this, he said, is one of his favorite books, and he really hones in on the rational and reasonable part of our minds to go into how we can reason that God does in fact exist. And so I recommend this one, even if just to have like points of discussion for anybody who is atheist or agnostic, feeling those inclinations. I would recommend this book. Obviously, this list is nowhere near exhaustive. There are countless books that you could choose to pursue for Lent this year. These were simply what I had on my bookshelf that stood out to me as having a major impact in my life, or going to make a major impact in my life, in understanding deeper what it is that the faith teaches, and how can we grow to be more like Christ, reflect as a woman, how can I grow to reflect Mary more, and how can we grow in community with that community being all of humanity, because we are built for community. And so I wanted to be able to share those with you guys today. I know it had been a little bit since I'd seen you, and as we gear up for Lent, as we gear up for such a sacred time in our liturgical calendar, I just really wanted you to be aware of, first off, my face. I haven't actually gone anywhere, but also just to be in awareness that I am still here with you. We have, fully devoted. And so I am ultimately and most truly devoted to learning to love as Christ loved, learning to speak as he and as Mary spoke, and just growing in that, growing in discipline, growing in prudence, in maintaining and governing myself, in getting a regular sleep schedule. I've started praying a live 5:45 a.m. rosary on TikTok every single morning, and so that's been very good. And it's good. It is good. I feel peace, and peace is important, and we need to be pursuing what brings us the fullness of peace. And so I wanted to be able to offer you something that might aid in that this Lent as it's coming up, and give you some time to order the books so that you could have them in time to grow as a community, grow as a church, and grow as a person. So God bless you. I pray that God brings you the resources that you need to draw closer to Him and in turn with those around you. And I pray that you're able to make it a great day. We'll see you soon.